So if you've seen the games of The Last of Us, they have the infected, and then I think the long-term infected are called bloaters, which become bloated, obviously. And based on the pictures that I've got there, that gives a really good sort of insight into how to draw them. So I always start with the head. You can see the rough outline sketch there, only just. I decided on this first one just to draw head and shoulders. I didn't draw the hands, but in the second one you'll see later on, I tried to draw mainly the full figure, except the lower legs, sort of thing. Yeah, so I've drawn the outline. The outline is important just to get the basic shape, obviously. Drawing the belly there of the bloated belly, and the almost the head's fungus type thing in it. So it's I call them cauliflower heads, but that's obviously not actually cauliflower, but it's based on a fungal sort of infection thing. So that's the basic idea with this creature. So we've got the outline, like I said, we're sketching there. You'll see this a lot clearer when I start to ink, but it's always best to start from top to bottom, from the head and then the shoulders down, that sort of thing. Because but you can start drawing anywhere which way you want, really. So it's entirely up to you. It's a good idea just to get all the details marked out, like I'm doing quick detail lines here. Zoomed in slightly now so you can see with the ink pen. Just going to outline everything. These probably are the final outlines, but to make up the main sort of outlines with the ink. You can add a bit more to it, like I am here. Slight details that are there with the pencil, and just see how the drawing goes. I mean, a basic sketch line that I did with a pencil is enough of a guideline to try and bring this drawing to its to a good drawing, a good design. So yeah, these creatures on the game. I haven't really played the game. I've just seen my son play the game, and it looks like fun. The first game and the second game. Yeah, it's sort of freaky looking creature things, and then there's clickers later on, or clickers, that I'll probably try and draw in the future as well. They're quite freaky, and then the runner ones that run real fast at you, infected. Yeah, they're quite good. And it has quite a good story to it as well. It's good games. The way games have improved over the years, it's really good. So as you can see, I'm still inking the outline just to get things correct, and you see the outline is just the basic shapes that you want. There's on the shoulders there's lots of that fungus as well that matches the head, and the rest is all this bloated flesh, and yeah, nice textures that we can get in there. And yeah, this stage is always one of the best best stages, starting to ink and doing the outlines, because you can just see it all, you know, the pencil sketch come together. So I mean, don't worry if you know, the drawing doesn't look right to you, or things like that, or because I haven't drawn hands on the bottom, or you know, you draw these how you want based on the images that, you know, the reference images that I got sent to me. You know, it's how you approach the drawing. It's not really about, you know, copying what I've done here. So basically, it's a how-to sort of drawing, but it's only my way of drawing. It's not really your way of drawing if you know, you wanted to draw this. So yeah. So now I'm just adding like shadows, as you can see, like lots of detail, and I'll probably like zoom in at some point, and you can see lots of details, lots of stuff being inked. I'm just using a cheap ink pen, as you can see. It's a super cheap ink pen. There we go, I just like zoomed in slightly. I think around the outside of them, you know, like them fungus structures on the head, it's best to draw like lots of details right on the end, and you know, I'm sure there's lots of like bubbles and things like of fungus and stuff, like these bubbles are going to pop and all the spores will come off, you know, type thing. And yeah, there's lots of details that you can add. In fact, while I was drawing this, I was thinking, yeah, it's a good drawing, but I'll probably do another one, and later on I'll do in this video, so stick around for that. It's always good to draw things in different ways, and hopefully just see drawings come together the way you want, that sort of thing. I do a lot of cross hatching and just basic hatching, and this looks quite sketchy, the way I've done it on video, and the way I'm approaching it on video, but it still ends up like a good legible drawing that hopefully can help you, or help inspire you to draw this yourself, or draw these creatures. There's lots of different photos on when I did a search on Google Images and Pinterest and things like that, that you can use to draw these creatures. People do real good screenshots, or even like fan art on DeviantArt, I think, was one of these pictures that I selected, or that could have been the art of The Last of Us, I don't know, taken from that. There's quite a lot of photos out there, you know, but I just prefer a photo on the drawing board, then I can just refer to it if, you know, I needed that reference, which I did, just to draw this bloater. That's the way I pronounce it, a bloater. Yeah, so we're just still adding lots of detail and shadow, and just trying to add depth, basically. These creatures are like really rotten looking, and in this first drawing I didn't really depict, because he in the game, like the bloater, I think he hurls acid, like acid balls at you or something, and filled with spores and all sorts of, you know, infected crap and stuff. Well, not crap, but, you know, just material stuff. So in the next drawing I sort of do something which is sort of depicts that. So I would have liked to have coloured these, but the video would have ended up real long, so I think what I'll do in these series is try and draw these creatures. I'll maybe draw a clicker next, see about drawing a runner, but they're not really interesting, I don't think. But you'd have to get close up on their eyes just to know they're infected, and I don't know. The runners are more like the infected in 28 days later or something, you know. They're just like raging, running people infected, sort of thing. But I suppose later on I could come back and do a video on colouring them, painting them or something. I've got some new paints, so hopefully I'll be doing some videos on that. Yeah, so I quite like drawing these creatures, and I found them easy to draw. You know, the shape of the heads and that, and the mass that they have. Like they've got like just bloated body frames. It's just cool, and there's lots of detail. And I like inking lots of detail, so yeah. So yeah. I wonder if they'll make a film of this. I think they will do, because they're really popular games. I know the second one became a bit controversial, you know, with some of the storyline and that. I won't give it away if you haven't played the game or anything, but yeah. But I think it's a bit ridiculous. It's a sign of the times, I suppose. Things becoming, you know, I suppose I was like that with the latest Star Wars films. You sort of get a bit disappointed with the storyline and that, but then you just realise you can't change anything. It's been done now. It's you know, they made decisions which ultimately didn't really work for that recent Star Wars franchise. So, and then you know, I think a lot of people have got a lot of time on their hands to complain about this stuff. So, I mean, I don't do it anymore because it just wastes time that could be spent drawing and creating stuff of my own. So, nah, I don't really worry about it. But what I find it was a bit ridiculous, like some of the voice actors getting death threats and things like that, and you know, over the story going the way it did, and ridiculous. Yeah, definitely a crazy world. Anyway, back to this creature, still drawing lots of details. There's nothing else I can really say apart from yeah, lots of details. The flesh reminds me of pizza for some reason, even though it won't be a very tasty pizza, but I think that's the type of texture you want to aim for. But on this video I was sort of rushing. That's why it looks a lot more sketchy. Then later on I had like a black thick Sharpie in the darker areas just to help set it off, and that helps add some kind of depth and sets off the texture a lot more. So I mean, I always consider adding like thicker marker to a drawing, and it helps separate maybe something like the arms underneath and, you know, under the head, things like that. You'll see later when I add that Sharpie marker. Yeah. So hopefully you're enjoying this. I'm trying to think of stuff to say. I think that's because these take quite a lot of time. So I think this first drawing is about 20 minutes. So I've got about 5 more minutes of this one just to maybe 5-6 minutes, just to finish off a lot of the detailing. Usually it's about trying to work out a lot of the detail. A lot of the shadows help separate things, like I said earlier, like the arms and that. So I usually do like thicker shadows underneath. It always helps. These ink pens are okay for like doing detailed work and basic hatching and stuff and shadows and that, but that's what I said, I like to add more thicker ink lines there, which helps separate the drawing somewhat, so it's always a good idea there. So later on I probably will erase the pencil lines on these drawings and maybe do like a colouring video, but I think I will use my new paints. I've got some Liquitex basic acrylics and they're really good. I've tested them out. In fact, I'm going to be doing like a review video. I've already started it. Like most things, I've started lots of videos and they just need editing and voiceovers, things like that, which take a lot of time up. But here I am, up early doing this voiceover for this one. So if I'm at the time, I can do these. So yeah. I don't know if you want to see other drawing videos, drawing different creatures, but I've got some in mind there that I still need to start. I've started a few from Skyrim, some creatures and stuff, but I need to finish them off and edit them videos and do everything, which is all time consuming, but I think everything in life is time consuming, even drawings themselves, even artwork. I've started painting and things like that. Oh, here we go with the thick Sharpie marker. It's the chisel tip ones that I've got, which are really good. So I can just add in like quick shadows underneath the head and things like that, and some basic thick lines everywhere. It's really good, just helping separate things on a drawing. It's also good if you've got a complex drawing and you've got, say, like lots of tentacles on a creature or something like that, yeah, and they all mix together. You can help draw underneath each one of them, and then it helps separate the complex tentacles a bit more on a drawing. Or I don't know, if you've got loads of other different elements, like loads of skulls on a page, and then you can just draw a shadow in between them and just help make them elements pop. And I suppose this what this does, the Sharpie marker, and these dark points there can form the basis of more shadow with back of the ink pen. Add more hatching over the top of them, and things like that. It's always good to find out where the light source is coming from, but sometimes you can forget that. But it's a good reminder just to try and work out that sort of thing. So go back to the head now, making the outside of it slightly darker, the head, and then we'll make more of them details. I think when it does come to colour this, or paint it, this ink pen isn't really the best when it gets water on it. It sort of blurs the ink, but I can just cover that up with paint, paints, I think, or any sort of, maybe paints and coloured pencil, mixed media sort of thing will cover all that up, because I'll be going for like flesh colours as well, so maybe like watercolour type ways of using that acrylic paint. But yeah, the edges of this like fungus are all like it's like these bubble things that just look like they're gonna pop. I don't think I've really achieved that with the ink pen. Don't know. It's still good because I'm drawing it in a sketchy way. That's the way I draw, and ink, and so it's still worked out as an okay drawing. Yeah. Sometimes with these drawings, I just, even though they don't look right at the start, I still try and make them work. And sometimes by adding lots of detail and other ink sections of the drawing, it sort of comes together anyway. You'll find if it doesn't, then you're not entirely happy with the drawing, you can just draw another one. I think that's what happened. Wasn't entirely happy at the end of this, but it's still a good drawing, and that's why I started another one, just to, and maybe like if I do these drawings, maybe do a couple of variations of the drawing it from different angles, sort of thing, is always useful to look at, as inspiration and things like that. So yeah, I think my son Jack, he said that this infection thing in the game was like based on a real sort of infection or something that could happen or something. So that's a bit scary, like, but yeah. Yeah. But I think maybe to help draw these like fungus bits on it, maybe see if you can find real pictures of fungus and just try and draw them out. I know they're like the mushrooms are like fungus, but there's them like layered sort of mushrooms that grow out of anywhere, like trees, or just like the ground, like anywhere. And it's them sorts of like fungus you want to try and draw, like the layered sort of mushroom type ones, or they look really cool. But I think within this drawing I sort of lost some of that, but because I may have like over inked. But it's always good just to add lots of detail anyway, so it's all good in a drawing. I mean, sometimes you don't know when to stop adding loads of ink, but yeah. So coming to the end on this one, just adding like lots of detail as always, and yeah, just sometimes thicker lines around the outside and more detail just help bring it all together. I wish I would have done a frame around this and done like a black background, but I could do that later, at a later date. I definitely like drawing these creatures. I think that's why I draw this type of stuff a lot. And it's definitely worth drawing these creatures. And here we go. It looks rather sketchy, but I quite like that sketchy feel to it. It just makes it more like a raw drawing with energy, and yeah, quite cool. A bloater. Right, so this is the second drawing. trying to draw a shape. I wanted to draw like the full body of it, except like the lower legs. Like yeah, even though the lower legs like are in that photo, the reference photo, I thought maybe like if this one was like holding some kind of acid, something was burning, like like maybe do it more like of a rotted feel, something similar to the first drawing. So this is what I achieved with this one. As you can see, the rough outline, can't see it too clear, but I am using a 4B pencil, which like it looks like it shows up a lot more than like a HB pencil. So you can see the basic shape. The thing about bloaters is like they've got all the clothing's like sort of all rotten off and burnt and things like that. But in this one, I give him some type of like trousers, like with holes in it. Like it's, but like if I was to colour it, you'd really make that show. Like, and the skin and stuff that all this like rots in with the material of like the trousers or something like that. But yeah, just trying to draw the shape of it. I quite like the shape of that. I don't know why, but a reference image usually helps you create things a lot better. It's always a good idea, especially if you haven't drawn one of these creatures before. That's why I got these images. I could have just used a Google image, but as I said in a previous video about the free prints app, it's really good just to get these photos, and then you can just put them on your drawing board, when you want, like when you're drawing something specific, instead of trawling through Google images and trying to have that on your screen, because not all the time, like my laptop isn't always right next to my drawing board. Maybe take it downstairs or something, so it's they're quite handy to have, these little pictures. So we're getting some more reference images to draw from. I've also got some He-Man ones which I'll be drawing some stuff at a later date, classics. But here we are, like starting to ink the outline. The outline's always the best way to start when inking, because you can see if the figure drawing or the composition is exactly how you want it. And this is usually the best way of drawing and the best way of inking these creatures. Now this like hand is bigger, obviously, because it's more coming forward, so that's why I've drawn it bigger, which is probably obvious, but I just thought I'd explain that. And then it's holding like some kind of glob of acid, with spores in it and stuff, or whatever and then there's like some steam from the acid just trailing off there. So yeah, I haven't played the game much. I haven't played it at all. I just watched my son on this game. He's a lot better on them games than I am. But yeah, if I had the time, I'd probably play on these games. But I think it's a lot better when I'm just seeing someone else play it. Quite like the creatures though. Something similar, but not quite the same to like Dead Space. Them creatures. I want to draw some more of them creatures as well. Videos, because I think they'll be quite a good creature to draw, because there's different type of creatures from there as well. So you can draw lots of detail with them, and it's always fun to draw the details. But I quite like it at this stage, just doing the outlines. You can sort of see the drawing come together, and that's when you know that you've got a good drawing. Again, I'll probably do the Sharpie marker just to help separate some areas, and a thicker line underneath the arms and the legs, just to give the character some weight. It's always a good idea to do that. So yeah, I recommend you mixing up the thicknesses of ink markers and things like that. Yeah, so it's got like a basic cauliflower type head, fungus head. Lots of detail, as always. Don't know how many times I've said detail. Lots of detail. Yeah. Sometimes taking a step back and looking at the full drawing, it helps you look and see what needs changing or what needs adding, and then just zoom in and just add them shadows, and yeah, just really consider your drawings, and the way you lay them out on the page is really important. The composition is something that I've struggled with over the years. It's the way of making your drawings look not stiff. That's what I've struggled with over the years. And this second drawing doesn't look as stiff as the first drawing that I did. The first drawing that I did of the bloater was almost like a school photo, like it's this posing for the camera sort of thing. Yeah, and this one is sort of like giving it a bit more of action sort of pose or something, or it's like it's about to hurl, this acid at someone or something like that. So that's why the reference photos are really useful. In fact, them reference photos, I don't know what when it looks like it could be from the art of the book, because they look really good. There's really lots of detail on it, and yeah, quite like them. But maybe if you're drawing this drawing, you can maybe take your time and not draw as sketchy as I did. It's when you take your time over a drawing, you're not rushing, and you're not making as many mistakes. If you take your time, you can think things through a bit. I was just like thinking, let's get this drawing done for the video. That's the other slight little problem with these videos, but there's still like hopefully like it might inspire you to draw these or draw something similar, or they're not like proper how to draw, even though I list some of these in the titles as like how to draw certain things, but it's usually that is the best way, really, just to get inspired. I mean, I've seen other like proper professional artists draw stuff, and I've got inspired just by the drawing that they're doing, and then it makes me try to draw what they're drawn in my own way or something, and that's more important than a proper how to draw, sort of thing. I think I'm not a fan of starting off drawing shapes and things, and then like you've got to do this step to get it to this drawing and things like that. It's not always that easy really with drawings. Sometimes it's more of a fluid drawing process where you're just drawing like you're winging it sort of thing. You're seeing if the drawing will work out, and it's sometimes they take a few drawings to get right, as I've done with quite a few commissions. I started off drawing things like creatures and stuff, and then I realised the first few sketches aren't too good, so I had to start again, and then you just sort of hope for the best. That's all drawing and art is really, and hope for the best and try and get like a happy drawing that you're really happy with. So yeah, that's all drawing these things is. If you've got an interest to keep your drawing, then that's what will keep you drawing. I mean, I draw every day if I can, and I do. So it makes me happy drawing anyway. So that's why I continue to draw. And it's only recent years I've been getting paid for it, as on a freelance sort of basis, really. Doing a slight bit of work for companies like sketch cards and things like that. So hopefully I'll have more work in the pipeline, and then you'll be able to see. I've got a few videos coming up of sketch cards that I've worked on. There's a video that I've done, but I can't show you until I think it's late December. The sketch card set comes out. With Star Wars sketch cards, so yeah, there'll be that, and there'll be other creature drawings. Like I said, I've got some Skyrim ones that I've been working on that I need to finish, and I want to draw lots of other like games, type things. There's a few stuff in Zelda that I'd like to draw. There's a bad guy in Zelda, Ganondorf, which my son wants me to draw, so I'm going to draw that. In fact, I'll be doing like a mural at some point in my son's room with that on. So something, Zelda related with Ganondorf and that. So that should be fun. But I don't know how I'll get on with that. But if I do that, I'll try and do a YouTube video about that process. I'd like to start the vlogs up back again, where I just do daily bits of artwork and things like that throughout the day, so hopefully there'll be that coming. So as you can see, I'm just carrying on inking and trying to aim for lots of detail, whilst also adding shadow on the drawing. There's lots of details on these. And the details always make a drawing, combined with a shadow, it just creates depth on the drawing. Obviously, if I just did the line drawing, it would be just like a flat drawing, unless I added colour and that, create the depth there. But yeah. I think I will paint these at a later date. Liquitex paints are really good. Really are. I've tested them out on a few things and really awesome. So as you can see, I'm adding the shadows underneath everything. So like there's a light source coming from the top. That's usually the way I ink things. Even though this one is slightly sketchy, just like the other drawing. If you had more time, like I didn't really, because I just wanted to, I didn't want to be like over an hour on this video, so that's why I wanted to try and draw, you know, something that didn't take up too much time, but still a good drawing to hopefully inspire. Like, it's more of a concept type ink sketch really, but it's still a good way of working, and you can see the concepts a lot better, and like sort of a drawing in its like raw form is just something really cool to look at really. That's something I never really, I don't see too many top artists doing stuff like this, but I've seen a few artists like Jim Lee. He does real good quick concepts, and he just adds in mixed inking techniques and stuff, and some of that's quite inspiring that I've seen on his. He's done a few like live streams and things that I've seen in the past, and really good. I think that's where I get some of the inking technique from, but he does a lot of like dry brushing and stuff, and you know, like paintbrush techniques as well, combined with that. So I think that's what I need to be doing here and there, and just figure out how I can incorporate that in these videos a bit more, you know, like easier, you know, just add more techniques. So yeah, I think we'll be coming to where I had the Sharpie marker, just to add that thicker ink line. Still adding lots of detail on. Excuse me. Here we go. You see how it helps separate some areas when you're adding the thick ink lines. Really it separates some areas and it brings some areas outwards. And I can't really describe it. It just sort of makes the drawing pop. If you work it out a bit more, have a bit more time just to work these things out, then you can really come up with a drawing that's really rich in like depth and things like that. Maybe, you know, draw lots of like thick textured lines, especially when I needed under that belly. That helps separate the bit of trousers from the belly there. You know, it's a good tool, just adding, you know, some thicker lines here and there under the armpits there. That's a good shadow area. And back just around the outside of it, just more hatching here and there, just to create some shadows and more little bits of scribbly details, which I like to do. I suppose when it does come to like painting this, a lot of this detail will get covered up. But then the good thing about that is I can, when I've painted all the flesh colours and the like fungus sort of colours, I can maybe go over with an ink pen and add some of these ink lines more or less how I want, you know. So in the future you'll probably see that. In the not too distant future I'm definitely going to paint these, and then I can, you know, show you my colouring process now. My colouring process now is just like a mixed media type process. I'd just like add, you know, like probably add Copic markers, paints, and coloured pencils, and like white highlight pens and other tools, just to like, you know, like splatter ink and, you know, do, you know, a really good mixed media sort of way of working. One of the most inspirational artists that does that technique is Christopher Lovell. His art is just phenomenal. You know, I always look at his artwork and see how it takes like months for some of his paintings just to come together, because he adds loads of layers of like colour washes and things, and really good. And that's something that I want to aim towards. Yeah, with these drawings and the way I do these artworks, because I'd probably, if I, you know, got focused and, you know, worked on these more as like proper pieces of artwork and not just simple ink drawings, then I think they might look way better. You know, the proper pieces of artwork I'd be proud of. And also colouring it just really adds a top notch sort of level to your artwork. So yeah, can't wait to colour these. But yeah, I really like this detail on this one. This drawing looks a little bit better than the first one, I'd say, because it's, you know, it's more of a design that shows the creature in a better light, sort of thing. It's, or a better position, more in character with the, you know, the creature from the game. So yeah. So I'd always recommend you draw things in different ways, you know, different angles and things like that, because you never know which one you'll like more than the original ones that you draw. So just drawing in between them fingers a bit, just to try and separate the fingers a bit more so you can see them. That's always useful, just to, you know, if there's any complex bits on a drawing, such as a hand with fingers, and it looks like it blends all into, you know, other elements. So it's a good idea to help separate that with darker ink. There you can see the fingers a little bit more, you know, like clawed hand. So it's just final bits of detail now, just to help finish off certain ink lines and stuff like that I did a bit more sketchy. And the final look looks real sketchy, but I draw some like acid steam lines off that arm as well. And there we go. I hope you enjoyed this drawing video, and see you in the next one. Cheers now.